Welcome to Office 2010 video 29. Hey, we're talking about Excel. And as always, if you want to download this workbook, click on the link directly below the video. Wow, we're finally going to talk in great detail about number formatting. This is one of those things that the vast majority of Excel users on the planet Earth have no idea about. And yet, you basically can't do any of the cool things in Excel unless you know about number formatting. Number formatting is a facade. It's what you see on the surface of the spreadsheet. What's actually underneath the formatting can be quite different. Now, if you download the book and read it, the book goes through these little examples here. I'm going to do slightly different ones here. Highlight, and I'm going to do our keyboard shortcut to zoom to selection, Alt-W-G. Alt-W-G. Now, we want to talk about current accounting, currency, percentage, date, and time number format. So I just want to type the number 10. 10. Enter. So twice. And now I want to see the difference between accounting and currency. I'm going to click in this cell, Control 1 to open up Format Cells, Number tab. And now let's look at accounting. There's a little sample. Whenever you do number formatting, and there are millions of possibilities here, especially when you get down to custom like in an advanced Excel class. It's just basically endless, the type of number formatting. So this sample sometimes can be quite handy to get a preview. Two decimals, symbol. You can actually select all sorts of different units there. I'm going to say, which none is one of them also. I'm going to select that, and then click OK. OK. So it looks like the dollar sign's out here. It looks like there's a little space there and there. Let's go look at currency and apply some currency. Control 1. Okay. The sample looks pretty much the same, right? Notice we have a choice of how to display negative numbers. That's one difference between currency and accounting. The reason you have a choice here is currency, some people want to show minuses. But in accounting, they don't let you. It's always going to be a parentheses, because in accounting, parentheses indicate a negative. I'm going to keep the two decimals. Click OK. Whoa. Well, you can see right off the bat, there's two big differences. Dollar sign right next to the number. Oh, and there's no extra space here. Now, this dollar sign is called fixed. Accounting uses a fixed dollar sign. Means dollar sign's way on the outside edge. This is called floating. It floats in and out. So if I type 100 here, it floats out a little bit further. 1,000. 100. Still fixed in the same place. That is for neatness. Accounting format is one of the neater number formattings. Now, why those spaces? Because if you want your decimals to all line up perfectly, use accounting. They have an extra little space programmed into this number formatting to accommodate the parentheses for negative numbers. If you have a whole column of numbers, and you want the decimals all lined up, which of course accountants are careful like that, then please use accounting. One other thing, sometimes people don't want to see the dollar sign, but they want that benefit of lining the decimals up. You could do it two ways. Control 1, remove the dollar sign. I'm going to click Escape. You can see right there. That accounting without the dollar sign is what a lot of people use because it lines the decimals up perfectly. I'm going to click Escape. The other way to do that is in the Home tab. Some of the more common formats here, I like to avoid that one like the plague because it doesn't show any decimals for percentage. But there's accounting. You could just click on that and we'll apply accounting. That's called comma style, and it is accounting without a currency symbol. All right, now, so advantage, floating, decimals are lined up. I kind of like I use currency quite a lot just because I like that dollar sign close in, not floating way out here. But there you are, the difference between currency and accounting. Now we've got to talk about percentages. All right, so 5%. What is 5%? Well, 5% is a formatted version of a particular number. And I'm going to type 0.05. 0.05. And then Control Enter. 0.05. That means for every 100 pennies, we're going to take 5 of them for tax or whatever. Okay? This is a decimal or a proportion, 5 out of 100. Let's go ahead and apply a number formatting. Control 1, percentage. There's our little sample. There's our decimal. So you have some choice here. I'm going to click OK. Look what it does. It now shows even up in the formula bar as 5%. 5% is a formatted symbolic representation of that number, 0.05. I would like to actually remove that percentage number formatting. I'm going to Control 1. The way you remove formatting is to go to General. General wipes all the way away all the number formatting. You can see that even though up on the formula bar here we see 5%, underneath is this number here. And all calculations have to be based on this, because calculations can't be done with any numbers that have symbols. Click OK. So that leads us to wonder, what in the world's going on here? You mean that number is actually in the cell, but we can format it so there's something different than what we see? Yes. Well, in fact, let's try this right here. That one I don't like because it doesn't show decimals, but you can easily go like that. See the formatting? Ooh. But that thing and that thing are not actually what are sitting in the cell. It is that little decimal proportion. Let's prove to ourselves even further that formatting is facade. It's the paint on the outside of the house, not all the stuff inside. Click in this cell. I see the $ and the 0.00. But look what's stored in the cell. Just 2 characters, a 1 and a 0. This is on the surface of the spreadsheet. That's actually what's in this spreadsheet. Now, some number formattings like accounting and currency, you can see the number that's actually in the cell up in the formula bar, but not when it comes to percentages or date or time. The formula bar and the thing we see on the surface of the spreadsheet here will look the same, but the thing underneath is always different. That is why number formatting is so tricky for people, because people get lulled into thinking, oh, that's actually what's in the cell. So you need to, if you become fluent with number formatting, you always know there's a disconnect between the formatting we slap on the top of the spreadsheet or the cell and what's in the cell. Let's try to do this a slightly different way, and I actually have a whole video on percentage coming up. But just one last topic about percentage. Let's type 5.00%. Now this time we did the reverse. We're typing a percent in, and now I'm going to hit Control Enter. Here we typed in 0.05 and applied a format. See that? See that? Control 1, and now Apply General. We typed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. I'm going to hit General. Look at that. Hopefully that proves to you that the thing that's really in Excel's memory under there somewhere is this number. All right, let's talk about dates. Dates are important because invoices and loan payments all have dates. I'm going to type 1/31/2011. Now, the important thing about date is that you and depending on your settings on your computer, you type in the month, the day, the year. In the control panel, Start Control Panel under Regional and Language Settings, you can find whatever the default settings are for your computer. But notice we have typed a slash. I'm going to hit Enter. You got to put those slashes in so that Excel knows that this is a date. You could also put dashes in. You could type that in as dashes. Now it sees it as a date. Now look. There is the stuff we typed in the cell, and up here we can also see this. But let's go and see what's really in the cell. Control 1. How do we do that? We apply General, and that wipes away all the number formatting. What? What is that? 40,574. Click OK. Just as with the percentage format, we typed in percentage, but when we wiped away the number formatting, we saw what was actually in the cell. dates are integers. And actually, this is beautiful because now we are allowed to subtract dates and get the difference between dates to find out things like how late an invoice is. Invoice due date today, and then days late. The first day that Excel recognizes is January 1, 1900. That's the number 1. December 31st, 1899 is 0, right? So, and the reason they did this is they had to, in order to use Excel efficiently, we had to be able to do math with dates, like add and subtract. So let's just see an example to see why in the world they would program it this way. Let's say the invoice due date was 1/25/2011. Enter. And today's date. Now, I got to show you a great keyboard shortcut. And this is for all the people who enter transactional records into Excel. There's actually a keyboard shortcut, Control semicolon. It puts today's date in. So instead of today's date is, I think, February 3rd, 2011, I'm just going to do Control semicolon. Is that totally cool? All right. So underneath here, if I highlight these, let me type. This is going to be there's another keyboard shortcut I want you to learn here, and it's to apply general number format. And that is Control plus Shift plus the grave accent or the tilde. That's the to the left of the number 1. And the reason why this is so good is because number formatting gets people into trouble. And we could always go Control 1 and then click on General, right? But there's a keyboard shortcut for it. People that do date math and time math all the time love this keyboard shortcut. I'm going to do Control Shift tilde. Now, look, those were dates we typed in, but underneath Excel put this number. Why is that perfect? Now we can subtract them. I can say the bigger date, the bigger integer number, subtract the smaller date, the earlier date, the smaller number, and I can get the difference between the two. Now notice it would be silly to require us Excel spreadsheet users to type in numbers like this. I'm going to Control Z undo. We type in the dates, but underneath in Excel's memory, we know there's a number there. So now I can simply go equals this date, the later date, minus the earlier date. 9 days late. It's always later date minus when you're trying to find the difference between two dates. OK, so again, this idea of number formatting as a facade. Dates and percentages, so far we have seen that there's the formula bar and the cell, the surface of the cell, for dates and percentage format are the same. It's not until you apply general format that you actually can see. Now, there's another way to show formulas. If you go up to formulas, I don't even know where it is because I use the keyboard shortcut. Where is show form? Oh, there it is, show formulas, or the keyboard shortcut Control tilde or grave accent. You can actually, if you show formulas right there, you also show formulas great because it shows everything, right? Whoops. It shows you the actual formulas and the thing that's actually in the cell. All of those things are shown. Now that's a toggle. If you need toggle back and forth, you can see that. Now, let's just do an example here, reverse, just like we did with percentage. But here we typed in a date. And I'd actually like to put a date format back on that. How do I do that? One way to do it is click in this cell. Click on that button. Oh, yeah, that copy's just formatting. And now, we typed in the date and then wiped away the general format. I want to do the reverse here. I actually want to type in a number. I'm going to type in 2, Control Enter. Now, let's apply a number format. Control 1, date. Now, there's a bunch of cool dates, including this one. I love this one. This shows you the day, month, day, etc. So we type, notice, there's a 2. And we're going to apply on top of it the facade date number format, that one. Click OK. Oh, Monday. So January 2nd, 1900 was a Monday. All right, now the last number formatting we're going to look at in this video is going to be time. Now time, people do time all the time. The best example is doing payroll. I came in at 8 a.m. and I left at 11:30 a.m. You have to type in, just as with dates, you have to use the / or the dash. With time, you have to use a colon and then an AM PM. Now you can actually do military time and leave off the AM PM, but I'm going to do AM PM. Let's say 8 colon, and colon is the key. 8 hour colon 00. Those are the minutes. You actually can go colon and then seconds like that, but we're not going to do that. Actually, over here in some of these sheets, I have notes, and in the book also about how to type in time. But there it is, 8 colon 00. But don't forget, we're not doing military time, so I want to differentiate between AM and PM. You have to type a space right there, and then either the AM or the PM. Now, if you type it in little like that, it'll pop up big, because as soon as you do this, just like the slashes for dates, that colon is signaling that what we're typing in is not text. It's actually a number, and we should apply the time number format. Control Enter. 8 a.m. You can see up in the formula bar, it keeps it shows us the seconds, even though we're not showing them here. Now, this is the biggest shocker of all, time. And before I show you what's actually in the cell, I want to do a little experiment down here. 8 hours, and a day is how many? 24. So I want to do a little formula. Equals 8 hours divided by 24. What is that going to tell us? Well, there's 24 hours in a day, and we're only interested in the first 8. So this number will give us a number less than 1, right? 24 divided by 24 would be the whole day, would be 1. Any number divided by itself is 1. But this is less than the denominator here. So we're going to get some number between 0 and 1. 0.333. Oh, right. 8 divided by 24 is 1/3. Okay, so now get what we did. This'll help us understand the idea, because time is always going to be a number between 0 and 1. The proportion of 1 24-hour day. So there it is, 8 divided by 24, 0.33. Now let's apply the number formatting, time. Control 1, time. And look at that, it shows up as 8 a.m. There's a bunch of times. You can have military time right there if you want. So up here, we typed it in 8 a.m., which is the way we always do it. Here, just for learning purposes, we're trying to teach ourselves the meaning of the number in the cell. We put in 0.3333, applied the time formatting, and this is what popped up. Now let's click here, and I want to apply the general format. Now you could Control 1 general, but I'm just going to use our keyboard shortcut Control Shift tilde, or grave accent. Look at that. We typed in 8 a.m., but underneath is the proportion of 1 24-hour day. Control Z to undo that. So now I can see dunk, dunk. Now, why in the world would they put proportion of 1 24-hour day for time? Because they want to be able to do time math. You got to understand here, dates and times, we do calculations with those. So the programmers who originally created the spreadsheets way back had to put a number in the cell somehow there so we could make calculations. So let's just do this. Time in, time out. So I came in at 8 a.m. Whoops. 8 colon 00 space. Nice. I totally messed up there. Must be sleep teaching right now. 8 colon 00 and a space, and then AM or PM. And then let's say we left at, without any lunch, at 4:00 p.m. Excuse me. Now, I have to warn you, before we do this calculation, when we subtract two proportions or decimals that are less than 1, we're going to end up with a decimal that is less than 1. But there's an easy way to then convert that to hours. Let's just see this. it's similar to the idea up here. For date math, we did later date minus earlier date. Here it's later time minus earlier time. So let's go ahead and try it. Equals this minus later time minus earlier time. And then enter. Now, that formula sucked the formatting. When these cell references are put in here, it actually takes the formatting from the formula input cells and brings it to this cell right here. That's not what we want. I want to immediately apply the general number format because I want to see what that says there. Control Shift tilde or Control 1 general. OK, so 0.33. So we can do this in our head. 8 hours, right? From 8 to 12 is 4, and then 4, so 8 hours. But we need to know what the hours are. So for example, we need to have the number 8 right here. So we can go 8 times whatever the wage is. In fact, we'll put the wage here, 15.50. And I'm going to format as my type and put a $sign. And then right here will be earnings. Well, we can't just say 15, the hourly rate times the proportion. Well, we got to think about this. If each one of these is proportions of 1 24-hour day, that means 8 divided by 24, and this one is 16 hours through the day, 16 divided by 24. Well, since we took the 8 and the 16 and divided it by 24, that means we have to take this and multiply it by 24. If the meaning of this is a proportion of 1 24-hour day, since it says proportion of 24-hour day, we just multiply it by 24 to get us back up to hours. And get this, we're going to put it in parentheses. Why? Because order of operations, we have to force subtraction first, and then 24. Again, this is one of those examples of a formula input that can be hard-coded or typed directly into the formula. Because why? The number of hours in a day is not going to change anytime soon. All right, enter. And there it is. Now we can do things fancy, like I could say we came in at 8:13. And there it is. It immediately updates. And now our formula here for earnings is simply the earnings times the hours worked. All right, that is a bunch about number formatting, one of the more important topics in Excel. Accounting currency, percentage, date and time. One example for date math and a second example for time math. We will, in our next 3 videos, have a video just on percentage, just on date, and just on time. All right, see you next video.